Hey there, absolutely gospel music fans and readers and viewers and everybody in between. We are so excited to be here today with none other than Mr. Ernie Haase. He is a gospel music legend. We are so glad you're here with us today, Ernie.
Oh, it's a pleasure to catch up with you, Chris. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
yeah, it has been a while. We were just talking beforehand. It's probably been 10 years at least
At
since I spoke
least.
with you. But we are so glad that you're here because we are celebrating a very big thing with Ernie Haase. You guys are celebrating 20 amazing years doing what you have been doing, Ernie Haase Signature Sound. Give us a rundown, Ernie. I know it's going to take a lot, but tell us what got you to this point.
Oh, I can tell you. It won't take a lot to tell you. God's grace, God's amazing grace in us and through us. I know everything we've ever done. We've it started like over there in my living room. I was just praying, and you felt those promptings to start a quartet. And having been in the the pinnacle of quartets with the cathedrals, I'm like, my human side was like, what in the world could I possibly contribute? And at that moment in time, I think I would not be telling the truth if I could tell you I knew 100% that prompting was from the Lord. You just never really know, but you set your mind to it, and we did, and God gave us grace along the way through all the challenges, and He gave us songs to sing because every singer needs a song,
Yeah.
every messenger needs a message, and so He's given us those messages in song, and they've connected with people, and so now, 20 years, didn't think I'd make it that far a group and as a vocalist too. But we you know we made it also by looking ahead, and not looking back and stressing over what used to be, but just thinking what could be, having a vision. But this special year, the 20th anniversary, my producer Wayne Hahn and my co-partner in Stowtown Records said we need to do something this year. I said that's not how I operate. I'm always thinking what's next, what's next. He said, but there's a great saying that I heard the other day was you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been. And I'm like, okay, let's imagine what that could be. So looking back at the songs that God has given us, the messages that God has given us that have found its place in people's hearts and lives, and they've used these songs to attach to their redemption stories of what God has done in their life. These songs have given them voice for their faith walk. So I said, I think I can wrap my mind around that. So we were making up our last COVID dates. We were going to Europe. Those were supposed to have happened in May of 2020.
Wow.
And so this May, we made those dates up. And in Amsterdam, we knew that would be an amazing date. We decided, let's go take some of our top songs, reimagine them with a symphony, and go to Amsterdam, record a live album. So that's how it all happened. That's a quick version of what we've done, and most importantly, why we've done it.
That's awesome. I think what so much drew me into this record is groups don't make live records too much anymore. But back in the 60s and 70s and even into the 80s, man, live records were where it was at. I mean that was some of the best records were put out, and I think it celebrates where you guys have come from. But then you can definitely hear exactly where you're going, where the future is of Ernie Haase Signature Sound. So I love the fact that
Thank
it was
you.
a live record and it wasn't just we're going to put out a greatest hits album of our 20 biggest hits.
No,
You
I didn't
know,
want to do that.
yeah,
Yeah, and we wanted to. Typically, every time we go to Amsterdam, there's always an orchestra with us, and so that kind of got my mind going. And the last thing I wanted to do was just to go over and sing, push play and sing. I didn't want to do that. So we took the songs. We didn't divorce the arrangement from the original intent, but we, especially with Wayne's great creative artistic imagination, I said, just make it for an orchestra, make it symphonic, and rearrange it. Give me chances to say something before a song, to tell a testimony, or to say hello during the middle of this song. Let's map it out, and let's just don't make it a greatest hits record.
yeah,
Let's make it a special event. And then let me say this too about a live album. I'm glad you said that, because some of the most impactful albums in my uh, formation of ideas and stuff, the Cathedral Quartet live in Atlanta was a major record. And then just lost an icon, Tony Bennett. his Unplugged record really influenced me greatly. And so I told Wayne, I said, since the inception of Signature Sound, we've always made videos. We've been a visual group too.
Yeah.
I said, in my mind's eye, I don't care if there was video there that night for Live in Atlanta in 1982. It will never be as big as what it is in here.
Sure.
So let's do the opposite with Signature Sound. We always do videos. Let's just make a live audio recording and let the Spirit dictate to everybody what it needs to be for them. So that was our approach with that too.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of the things also that's a big takeaway with your group is that you can never be pigeonholed into one style. You might make a record that's very traditional in a Southern gospel sense, but then you'll go and you'll put out a record that's Broadway styled and all that kind of stuff. Can you speak into a little bit of kind of what makes that those transitions for you guys, or how you come up with these ideas for the group?
It's for me, it's always about connecting. So I see what a gospel song and a Southern gospel song can do. I see what a quartet can do, but I also see what a quartet can do when we venture and we sing things that are not foreign to us, that it's really something we like and enjoy. My wife and I, we've been going for years to New York, and we do a Broadway blitz, and I always get my creative well filled up there. And that's not to say everything that happens in Broadway and in New York I endorse and think is awesome. And nobody would say that. But, Climb Every Mountain from Sound of Music, You Will Be Found from Dear Evan Hansen. Those things really. So it was not a stretch for us to do an Inspiration of Broadway record. It was not a stretch for us to record love songs, Decades of Love last year, as a gift to our wives, because outside of the Lord Jesus Christ, the greatest gift ever given to us is our ability to love and be loved and share a life together. And all of our guys are very, very married. So we wanted to do those loves. It wasn't a stretch for us. And then having said all that, when you hear it, I don't care if it's Southern gospel or whatever we do, it's Signature Sound. It sounds like us. You wouldn't put that on or any of our records on and say, that doesn't sound like the guys. It's us.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the notable thing about Decades of Love to me was that I was just like, yeah, these are great love songs, and these are songs like You're the Inspiration. I mean, when I grew up listening to that song, but it still sounds like Ernie Haase Signature Sound. It's like, it's not out of place. Even if Southern Gospel wanted to put it on their record, on their playlist, they can do that. It's not out of place,
No.
And so I love that about you guys. There's always that stamp of, Ernie Haase Signature Sound.
Well, and it's back to what I said. It's about connecting. We do, before COVID, we were doing about 100 concerts a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back to that level again. Thank the Lord. But there are a lot of places that we go and we perform that necessarily wouldn't just book a Southern gospel group to sing "Getaway Jordan," and Then Came the Morning, Oh What a Savior. They're looking for ways to bring the whole community together, and so I've always done that. I think in the very beginning of my career, as a young teenager, I was always in barbershop quartets and show choir, and I had a 50s review band called the Hootie Hoots, and then I was singing the gospel quartet. And so there's just however I can bring people together and let my light shine. And no matter what venue I go into, I never say anything or sing anything that doesn't line up with my faith or with the scriptures, or that would divide a crowd. So I'm wherever I go, I'm doing what I learned in training union in Sunday school as a kid. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. And music is a great way to do that. And man, in a divided culture today, it's needed. Our lights are needed more than ever.
Right. Yeah, that's great. So what can you tell us about? I mean, obviously we're going to be talking about this 20th anniversary record. And before I get to this next question, I do want to talk about Until We Fly Away, because that song is like Broadway meets, James Bond, meets gospel quartet.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about that song? Like, I know obviously Wayne's hands are all over that track, and that orchestration. But can you explain? Can you go into a little bit more about that song? I just love it. It draws me in every time.
Well, I appreciate you saying all those descriptions are very appropriate. And so thank you for listening. Number one, you know how many interviews I do where they don't actually listen to the music. So thank you. Number one, uh, that song, it was a big song for us. It was originally in 2008 on the Getaway Jordan record.
Right.
And we never singled that song to radio. And so that is the single off of this greatest hits 20th anniversary recording from Amsterdam. And so back to the original intent, I told Wayne, and we set up here. We worked for 5 days. How do we not divorce the listener, somebody like you who grew up and heard that back in 2008? But how do we not freak them out, but how do we take them on a journey?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, when you're on the path, which would be the song and the arrangement, you're like, oh, did they get me here? And so we performed it for the first time. We before we released the record, we did that at our retreat. And so our most ardent friends and fans were there.
Mm-hmm.
And we kicked that in, and Tyler went to that beautiful overture right before it. And then all of a sudden, that signature intro, ba-da, ba-da-da. I mean, I watched 5 to 10 people that I know everything about us more than I know about us.
Uh-huh.
They all went, what? They're looking at me like, what just happened? You know, so that's the beauty of tension and release and music, and artistic. And that's what we wanted with this. And then on top of all that, we've sung to some amazing crowds, but no crowd more energetic and more alive than our brothers and sisters in Amsterdam. They actually, you won't hear it on the recording, but there was a couple of times I said, hey, can you all sit down for a second and let me talk to you? They were just so excited to be a part of it. So yeah, that's a great song written by Joel Lindsay and a CCM artist, Pam Thumb.
Oh yeah.
Back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And so really excited to bring that song back.
Yeah. She wrote, did she write, was it Hallelujah, Praise the Land? No, she wrote a classic song. I'm trying to remember.
That was Don Thomas.
Okay. I'm trying to remember what song it was, but it's very similar to that one in terms, but I mean, I've loved Pam Plum for years. You know, Life is Hard, God is Good. That song's always been amazing to me. And of course, Joel, I mean, you know, at this point, what else is there to say about Joel Lindsay as a writer?
There's something else to be said about Joel Lindsay. My buddy has been there. He and I started writing back in 95. I've been writing since high school. Actually, before that, my mom found a book of poems and stuff that I did as a kid. I was writing about crackers and toast and ketchup, and I was just always writing stuff. I had a couple of cuts with Cathedrals in Gold City, but when I met Joel, and it was on a cruise to Alaska, we found out that we're from the same hometown, Evansville, Indiana. We started writing together, and it's just been a wonderful relationship. Then we wrote "He Made a Change," which was the Cathedrals' last #1 song, and it's been a song that has stuck around. But more than anything, I want people to know about Joel. He's been a confidant. He's been a sounding board. There have been times when I need to talk, I need to vent.
Yeah,
I need somebody to speak into me and give me grace to say some things that I need to say that I don't want anybody else to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And Joel Lindsay has been that person for me. He's been my friend. He's been my confidant. He's been a co-laborer with creative things. And I can't say this for certain, but I don't know that Signature Sound would be here like it is today, 20 years later, if it wasn't for his influence and impact within this group. I treat him as if he's an owner of this group, because I look at him that way.
Yeah, that's a high compliment for sure. And so much of his stuff is so relatable too, because of what he's had to walk through, with his own, battles with cancer and all that. And so, we love Joel here as well. So you won't hear us say anything otherwise. So let's talk about a little bit about, because you are always thinking ahead. So what is ahead? Where are we going to see Ernie Haase Signature Sound going next?
Well, we got this fall tour coming up where we're out pushing the Live in Amsterdam.
Absolutely.
20th anniversary. All these songs, and everybody's going to love the fact that we're going back and revisiting, because some of these songs we haven't performed in a while. So you got Sometimes I Wonder, of course, Oh What a Savior, Getaway Jordan,
Mhm.
Reason Enough, that was Song of the Year in 2008, Clear Skies. One of my favorites is Jesus Changed Everything.
Mhm.
And so it's just going to be awesome to be able to go out this fall and to tour this record and let people hear the redemption stories behind them. So that's what's next. Um, and then the jazzy little Christmas tour will happen. I can't believe we're in August already.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then next year are going to be some exciting things that we're doing exactly now what we were doing in December of last year, which was dreaming about what's next. And so I've got two or three things that I just don't have peace to talk about yet because I don't have it all formulated. It's all up in there. It's all circling.
Yeah.
But that's usually what happens. But there's something there, and I'm really
Okay.
excited about the future. There's hope, and if there's hope, then you can get up every morning and you can move forward. And that's what we do with our music. I'll offer that with people. Another thing that we're doing, I'm going to break some news here today.
Okay.
I have not announced this to anybody, but I'm going to start the process in a few weeks of recording a season 3 of our Friday Night Sing webisodes that we did during
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
Just, Chris, we're just going all over the world each night. People walking up to us saying, looking me in the eye every night with tears in their eyes saying, thank you for Friday Night Sing. I don't know how we would have survived it. So I know times have changed. I know we're not locked down. I know that Zoom and Netflix and all that stuff have taken a hit in stock prices because things have changed. But it's back to not what we do, but why we do it. There's a lot of people, more than we'll ever get to, on a tour bus or flying on a plane,
Yeah.
that need the content and the songs and the community, even though it's virtual. So I've got peace about that. Just
Great.
this week, I called the guys and said, I got the outline, I got the ideas. I think I got enough for another season. So we're gonna record those and then air those the first of next year when it's really cold. Sometime in January, you'll be hearing more about it. But sometime in January, we'll launch that again, and all over the world. At any given time, there's 32 countries tuning in, watching. When we were in Northern Ireland in May, a sweet family came up to us and she said, I know you're not broadcasting live, but when you broadcasted it on Facebook and YouTube, it was always 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That was like 4 o'clock in the morning here.
Mm-hmm.
We got up every morning
Wow.
as a family and watched that because we wanted to watch it with our brothers and sisters in America at the same time they were watching it.
Oh, wow.
It just broke my heart, but made me just smile. And the kids were like, freaking out that they were seeing you in person, and so that's some news we're breaking. So breaking news.
That's awesome. Yeah. And there may be somebody who can never see you guys live and who may never hear the gospel presentation that might tune into that, and so that's just fantastic. Great news from you guys. And I love to hear it. So, Ernie, I've been doing this a long time. I've been, the site's 25 years old. I was interviewing artists before even the site, started. So I've been doing this a long time, but I've always asked the same question, and I'm going to ask it to you too. And I just want to know, what is God teaching you at this moment?
Trust, and trust that it's in good hands. I know that sounds so trite, but this day, this moment, this challenge, this issue, everything is in his hands. And if he is the God of all comfort, then there's no reason why I should be anxious. I can be concerned. There's a big difference.
Right.
There's no reason why I should be fearful, but I should be intentional. So all these things, finding the balance in life through trust. And whenever I get sideways, whenever I get in the weeds, and I do, we all do, you can always go back to a point in time in my mind that I thought I was in control. I thought I could control it. I thought I could affect the outcome righteously.
Yeah.
For the right reasons. I don't know. God reveals himself to us through the scriptures, but even John said in the very end, there's so much that Jesus did. There wouldn't be enough scrolls in the world to contain everything. So there are so many things we don't know, but he's revealed enough to us to know. And what he has revealed and what he's telling me after all these years is, you can trust me. I'm not going to do it your way.
That's great.
You don't want me to do it your way.
Mm-hmm.
So let go and say, take a deep breath and say, it's in God's hands. And then go and do my duty. Do my duty, do what I'm supposed to do, but nothing more and nothing less.
Yeah, it's great. That's great. Well, Ernie, where can obviously you guys are all over social media. I'm sure most people are following you already, but where specifically can people find you guys?
Oh, I never assume people are following us. I never assume anybody knows my name. I'm always saying, hey, I'm Ernie. Hey, so let me just say to everybody, hi, I'm Ernie. If you want to know more about me and my music, if you care anything at all to know any more, just go to erniehaase.com. Haase, 2 A's. S is in Sam, E is in Edward. It's a hard name to spell. And it's just a lot easier to go there. And there you will find everything you want to know and more about Signature Sound and our music. Our website's just been updated. We went and had a new photo session to commemorate the 20th anniversary. We got these new tuxedos, and we're trying to look sophisticated now, Chris.
Yeah, I went there. I just stopped there right before our interview just to make sure I had all my eggs where they're supposed to be on the board, and sure enough, you guys popped up in those suits, and I was like, oh, they're looking sharp now. So yeah, it's a great looking webpage. So yeah, and of course you guys are all over social media.
Yeah, wouldn't all those people in the early? Remember the early days of your message board?
Oh yeah,
all the people who was like, why are they wearing their hair like that? Why are they wearing their ties like that? Well, we were young. I'm not so young anymore. So they would be thrilled to know we've grown up.
Right, exactly. Oh, listen, those message boards days, they were a mess. So, in some ways you're glad they're not there anymore, right? So but now they're just talking about it all on Facebook and stuff. So, it's just moving somewhere else. So listen, Ernie, I'm very glad to sit down and talk with you. Like I said, it's been a long time since we've actually seen each other face to face, and great catch there. And
wasn't that a great catch? That was left-handed too.
That's right. And I always encourage everybody, if they can see you in concert, obviously go see you in concert, buy the ticket, go by the product table. And if if you're like me and you're all digital, then buy a t-shirt, buy a hat, whatever you can to support you guys. Because that means more than anything for you guys is to financially support you guys, keep you on the road, do what you're doing.
Yeah, we've got a whole line at our website. You've got a whole line, not only when you get the CD, but if you get the CD, you can also we're giving away a free refrigerator magnet.
Oh,
and I
awesome.
love the cover. When we went to Amsterdam, we were on our way to Germany, and we went by and we saw this beautiful old windmill. And so I told the guys, let's get a picture. And actually, that ended up being the cover of our live in Amsterdam. We had another picture that was good, but it was one of those happy accidents that you're like, well, this must have been in God's hands too. We just have to trust the process. But then when you get there, you'll see we got 20th anniversary ceramic coffee mugs and T-shirts and then we got a jigsaw puzzle. It's a 200-piece jigsaw puzzle that has the covers of all of our most popular albums in the past 20 years.
That's awesome.
All made into a collage, into a puzzle. So a lot of neat things like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, just check it out. And I would encourage everybody when you're there to go to click on to subscribe to our free email newsletter. And then that way, when you put your zip code in, that way, whenever we're in your area within 150 miles, we'll send you an email saying, hey, the guys are coming to town, or hey, Friday Night Sing is airing this weekend, and whatever the news, the Ernie happenings is what we call it. You'll know about it. So
yeah. Well, it looks like Bev just popped in. Bev, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see it, but well, it looks like you're decorating the cake, but that's okay.
There's that famous cake. Hey.
Oh, that looks good.
You guys.
Oh man, what kind of cake is that?
That is a German chocolate cake. One of my One of my specialties.
Yes, and Bev is a fantastic, makes the best sweets in the world. You would definitely do well to try it. So, Bev, we were actually just wrapping up. You have anything you want to ask Ernie or talk about?
I am sorry I missed you guys. I was in another meeting that I couldn't get out, and I'll see if I can get my camera to work. I don't know if I can or not.
That's okay.
So I apologize, but I'm excited about your guys' new project.
Thank you.
So very excited, and I loved the last one you guys did too. The love songs,
thank
those
you.
were great.
Thank you. Yeah, that's been fun, and we're still going out and touring that, and some community concert series and some performing arts centers. And actually, next year in February, we've got a few churches who are booking our Decades of Love show just to do a supper and a song. They're gonna do like a couples night out, and so it's given the churches a chance to say, "Hey, here's something that you might normally wouldn't come to, but get dressed up,
right,
and have a dinner and bring your neighbors with you." And so it's a good ministry outreach. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And so you've got that going still, as well as the new one coming out.
Absolutely.
We are excited to help promote you guys with that. That is exciting to us.
Well,
so keep up the good work.
I will, and I'm going to leave here. I'm going to go to the bakery and get a German chocolate cake. That looks so good.
Well, next time if you're coming into town, let me know ahead of time, and maybe I can stir one up.
Oh, you got it.
Ooh.
All right. Well, we're gonna let Ernie go here, and let him get back to his German chocolate. But thank you again, Ernie, so much. It has been wonderful to talk to you as always, and we will continue to promote you guys and support you guys as long as you're doing what you're doing.
And yes, thank you for not only what you're doing for us, but what you're doing for all of gospel music and all these years. So, Chris, it's just great to catch up with you. And Bev, looking forward to seeing you, dear. God bless you.
Yes, same here. God bless.